Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I'd really appreciate it, and then I'd be able to send watches like this to your inbox every day, starting tomorrow. If you like our watches, including this one, you can buy it in 1,700 of its close friends on our website, thewatchbox.com. Buy, trade, and sell luxury watches on thewatchbox.com. And today we discuss one of the brands that represents absolute integration of manufacture and obscurity, both at the same time. Fortunately, as part of the Citizen Watch empire, Arnold Son of La Chaux-de-Fonds, Switzerland, is a traditional Swiss manufacturer with nearly unlimited resources to do things the right way and make watches that are interesting to the enthusiast. This is the opposite of hype in the industry. This is one of the best products you'll encounter that gets almost no press. Now, the timepiece on my wrist came out in 2014, and it is the Arnold Son UTTE ultra-thin tourbillon escapement. Remarkably, it's also one of the few palladium watches you'll see. A hallmarked precious metal of 95% purity, PD950 composes this watch as well as its buckle. You'll also note that the nomenclature is no joke. This is an ultra-thin tourbillon. The movement itself is 2.97 millimeters thick, and the entire watch is 8.9. That in spite of a 90-hour power reserve and a flying tourbillon on the dial. The watch fits easily on my wrist. There's the slim profile, though 42 millimeters in diameter. It is under 9 millimeters thick, and lug-to-lug 46.2 millimeters, meaning though this is a 42, you could wear this watch on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference with absolutely no second thoughts. This is a comfortable watch. Part of the magic of this one is in the shape of the lugs. As you can see, very short cropped and tightly downturned. They wrap around the wrist. You'll also note that the curved spring bar allows them to be drilled well inboard of their outer periphery so that you have pivot points that are closer together than the lug-to-lug dimension, and the strap can pull straight down around the tight curve of a smaller wrist. You'll also note that the case back is wonderfully flat with a regular shape to avoid pressure points or hot spots, and a semi-curved spring bar helps the watch to look more integrated and handsome as there's less daylight between strap and case. The strap is simple but substantial, slightly bolstered down its center. It is black with a semi-gloss finish, large rectangular scale alligator leather chosen for the tops, monotone stitch, folded edge, and on the underside, supple calfskin, and you'll note this is a new Arnold Son factory strap. Matching palladium buckle, as you can see with the Arnold Son logo, as well as a handsome combination of media blasted and polished finish with a profile that nicely matches the profile of the lugs themselves. Thoughtful echoes of design across this watch. Parallelism in art is a wonderful thing. Now let's get a little bit closer because the watch is off the wrist and we can talk about case details. There is a little bit of nuance to this case detail. As you can see, there's a junction between the case back and the mid case and the bezel in the mid case, as well as a fluted center that continues on the underside of the lugs themselves. So the lugs have a faceted top. They have a flank. There's a small transitional bevel between the lug hoods and the flanks, and then there's that fluted tuck underneath. It's quite handsome, and it's almost like a knife edge. The result being that the watch appears far thinner than it really is on the wrist. Now I can show you those lines to better advantage. The slight bevel from sheer to hoods, as well as the bevel underneath the lug that matches the tuck of the case band. Beautifully made, media blasted crown that's somewhat stepped out from the case and thus very easy to grip. You can see the case has that wonderful knife edge profile that I discussed. One of the reasons why, when it's on the wrist, it looks incredibly thin, almost as though it might be even 6 millimeters thick. Now the case is all of high polish, but given the proportions, that works well. This watch works as high polish. It's not garish. The dial is surprisingly complex. Now you have outboard a metallic chapter ring that's one step down from the bezel that unifies the bezel with the dial. The dial base is, I would call it an argent grain, almost a pebbly texture in silver. It's a light metallic silver. It glows rather than explodes. It's not a sunburst. There's a much lighter, almost white silver metallic finish to the stepped and countersunk hour and center, respectively, of the hour and minute scale. You'll also note that it has a wonderful double-stepped bezel around its outer circumference, and that there is a metallic grained finish just outboard of the Flying Tourbillon. The Flying Tourbillon, part of the Arnold Son caliber A200, beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It is entirely hand-finished, and thus, if you do loop the watch, you'll find that the tourbillon cage lives up to your expectations for the finish that you would find on a tourbillon. And though this watch originally retailed for over $60,000, it sells pre-owned in the low 20s. So you're punching way above your weight in terms of what you get for the money. The case back will not disappoint. All the action is on the front with the tourbillon, but the Arnold Son 8200 is a masterpiece. Now this is real Côte de Genève, not the stamped kind, and you'll note when I turn the watch flush to the camera, there is a mirrored anglage that glints and gleams, rounded and optically perfect across all of the bridges, as well as the jewel countersinks and the screw sinks. All of the screw heads are black polished, their slots are chamfered, their circumference likewise beveled. There is a double spiral dressage or grained pattern about the wheels on the case back, the ratchet wheels as well as crown wheels. You'll also note that there is a wonderfully finished underside to the tourbillon carriage. My only criticism is if you look at the tourbillon carriage bridge, there aren't those sharp interior angle cleft points. That's the only way I can fault this watch. Otherwise, it's simply gorgeous and mechanically accomplished. With a 90-hour power reserve, it even gives you more than you expect in that respect. This is a watch that is compact, gorgeous, laden with features, and hails from one of the truly accomplished manufacturers in watchmaking. Everything you pay for is substance, and nothing you pay for is hype. This is a timepiece for the connoisseur. See it and make it yours on our website.